Well, firstly, can I thank the officers of this council for the time they put in preparing the budget. I appreciate the work, the hours and the time you put into it. It's not easy working in a climate of decline. It's not easy working in a climate when the fabric of local government is being undermined satirically, politically and physically at every stroke of a government minister's pen. I concur with most of what Councillor Lambert said, and I won't repeat everything that he said because that would not be fair. But historically, this council has always found it very easy to raise council tax under a Labour government, and it's always found it very difficult to raise council tax under a Tory government. We have now reached a situation where government now is pulling local council to bits. We have a situation where we have desperate need in our community, up and down the land, in the Vale. I spent most of this year working with colleagues of other parties on children's services, and I can assure you every penny that goes into children's services is needed. But it seems most perverse and ridiculous that now a government is now telling the council you have to raise that money to do the service that you should be doing. It's now turning, as was rightly said, into local taxation. The years this council doesn't raise council tax is always quite cynical, isn't it? We have a discussion about it, and it always happens to be the year before we all seek to come back to our chairs here, and that's the years you don't raise council tax. We come up with loads of reasons why we won't do that, or if it was the other side, I expect it would be the same. But the reality is we're here to serve public servants. Government should be here to serve the public. The public are being let down. If you look at the way this council's changing, if you look at the comments in it, can't even get the wording right when you say restructuring. Restructuring of heritage team, restructuring of environment team, restructuring of the legal team. That is people's jobs going, who served our community, who once were needed and created an environment worth living in. And we can't even be honest and say we've lost those jobs and where they've gone. We call it restructuring. That is a human being. That is someone who actually got in the morning, come to work and did a good job. Now, in that restructuring, I am not sure that proper scrutiny is done of the effects of that. I am sure that it's been discussed within a committee. I'm sure you've all agreed it. But the nature of the council, which is not entirely of your own doing, is that now, if you wish to call something in on this council, it's pretty nigh on impossible. You have to get a member of the controlling group to actually work with you to call a decision in, because our committees are structured in such a way that to say that there's been a huge amount of scrutiny would be a myth. We have to look at the other elements that we've got going forward in this. I spent today looking at the growth agenda of Buckinghamshire and the district, and it's huge. It's huge. You've got 50,000 houses possibly in Bucks, 30,000 of them in the Vale. Those services need providing, and you need the revenue to do it. But what's government doing repeatedly? It's telling you what rate you can set. It's setting the council tax now, has done in the last government, in this government under a Conservative Chancellor, and he's now meddling in people's lives. Not only of that, we've got the agenda, which you may not wish to hear, of social deprivation, which is coming our way, the cuts to people on lower incomes and benefits. It's okay because they're going to go out and get one of these jobs which don't exist, and they're all minimum wage jobs, or they're all short-term contracts. There's going to be a big social price to pay for this, and at some point, conscience will have to come forward and repair that. If you look at the Aylesbury Vale plan, it was evident that we have a gun to our head from government. We've got until 2017 to actually implement the Vale plan. The largest thing we have to do, because we didn't get it right last time, because Luton and other places didn't cooperate. Now, we could blame Luton, we could blame this council. Irrelevant if we fail as a council. Consequently, we've got a gun to our head now to do it. If we fail that, what is the cost going to be to the constituents and people we choose to represent, who choose us to represent them? Will be massive growth, uncontrolled throughout the Vale and throughout our area, of which we'll have little influence over. I ask you, you are now becoming the instrument of government. You failed to be a council with an independent mind. You are the blunt instrument of government policy. It's no good saying I was only taking orders, because that's what we're doing now, effectively implementing government policy. No government has respected local government in the way it should be so. And local government now is being undermined by this Chancellor, by successive Secretaries of State, and interfered with. There is enough goodwill and intelligence in local government to solve most problems, but you can't run it all from a desk in 11 Downing Street, suiting round legislation. And as Stephen said, and I agree with him, we're now the whipping boy for government policy. He was absolutely right. Now, you will automatically support your group and you'll automatically support your budget, and I respect you for that, because you're all standing there united to do that. We have to look at the other elements of this. If you look at the commercial arm of Aylesbury Vale District Council coming forward, it's very innovative, it's very inventive, its prospects are large. The reality is, everybody else in local government will be coming up with similar ideas, competing for a smaller market of return on those trades. Every council up and down this land is doing something similar by a different name, and we're all going to be competing for those other jobs. And those elements that we may create in that scheme, which compete with the private sector, the individuals which I thought Conservatives were supposed to represent small firms and local businesses, will be competing directly with them. Now, if I was in a command economy under Lenin, we would be pretty much where we are. But now we're running a command economy run by the Chancellors. It's going off, isn't it? But I would think that was the situation. But nevertheless, where in all this, in your business development plans, is the scrutiny, is the accountability? I attended a meeting only a short time ago. I asked the question, the Chief Executive stood up and asked me, "Oh, are you saying you don't trust me?" I didn't say that. I asked where the scrutiny was, where it's gone through process. And I don't believe it has gone through scrutiny. What it was told is that's going to be in March. So what you do is you come up with all your ideas. You may have discussed it in that side of the room in your group, and you may understand everywhere you're going. And you may have all done it fully for you. What you haven't done it in a democratic process where we could amend it, vote against it, offer support, or offer positive change. So the lack of scrutiny. We'll get to the end of this, and the reality is the keys to the public purse is no longer yours. They've been taken away from you. Your abilities to influence has been taken away from you, and the continuous rate capping and cutting and whatever. If you look over the years before this came in, if we'd done what was planned in the budget of 9-10, we would have set, on your own figures, we'd have set, probably raised about 15.57 in rate. Now, we may discuss whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, but you would have done that. The government changed, and you were only allowed to raise half of that, and all of that had to meet a government proposal. So in the end, you must ask yourself, did you get elected to represent your constituents, or did you get elected to represent a government? I hesitated the case that most of you got up in the morning and thought, I'll go and be a public servant, I'll seek election because I rather approve of the area I live in and the people I represent. And I believe your job is now completely undermined, and we're now just a blunt instrument of government policy with no sense of proportion, no sense of reality. And I do believe when the dust is settled and eventually the reports come out and the social injustice of all this comes out, you'll have to ask yourselves when you sat in your chairs, were I correct to support that? And I think in your conscience you'll probably say you wasn't, but you were unable to do anything because of politics. So I leave it with you. Obviously, I will sit here and listen to the response before I decide how I'm going to vote.
Thank you, Councillor Stuchbury. Your time is up. Could I move on now to Councillor Cooper, please, on behalf of the